country is saddled with a legacy of racial discrimination, which has resulted in vastly different outcomes for people of color within our communities. Despite significant progress, hard work remains. Poor practices on the equitable distribution of civic resources, educational offerings, employment opportunities, and the distribution of infrastructure resources like parks and recreation centers, as well as violent confrontations with law enforcement, all have had a substantial and negative impact. Change needs to happen now. Recently, NRPA leaders and city officials convened in Portland, Oregon to deconstruct the current dialogue on equity, as well as the delicate nature of systems currently in place.
There's neighborhoods that have traditionally been excluded from great parks. And traditionally, great parks have been built in nicer neighborhoods. That time is done. We need to be building great parks and great amenities and rec centers in all over our cities so all people can enjoy them.
I think if elected officials understood the power of really funding a park system, they would recognize that the benefits are rippled throughout the communities, and especially in underserved communities. I think that that's money well spent. It's cost effective, and unfortunately that isn't the case, and many times parks are the first things that are cut, which is incredibly short-sighted and unfortunate.
NRPA's focus on social equity shines a light on the good work our agencies do to move the needle on equitable distribution, capital improvements, budgeting and programming, as well as how racial discrimination influences decision-making and leads to missed opportunities for these often overlooked communities.
I think park equity is important today for a number of reasons. Parks are sort of the community gathering places for many of our neighborhoods.
We're often the frontline resources for many of the city's initiatives and many things that the public is looking for.
It's something that we really need to look at as a department, as a city, to make sure that all our residents and all our folks that are in our youth and our communities get an opportunity to recreate and be part of these programs.
If there's park equity, it doesn't matter which neighborhood you live in to have that gathering space. Ideally, it should be any park, anywhere, and they should all have the same kind of services or the attributes. Unfortunately, we know that isn't the case.
Parks and recreation centers serve all members of the community, and the leaders in this field are working diligently to put an equity lens on all decisions that are made.
Every one of our recreation centers, we've got 57 recreation centers, and each one of them has its own recreation council, a small board that we work with very closely to give us input on the programs that they want, the types of programs that they feel they need in their community.
GRUNT is just an absolutely fantastic program. It's got a great name, but it stands for Green Spaces Restoration Urban Naturalist Teams. GRUNT is a way of us reaching into middle schools and high schools, finding kids who have great leadership potential, great interest in science, and actually pulling them into the Bureau, giving them an opportunity to spend entire summers working on trails or identifying trees or leading camps.
I come from a low-income household, so I wasn't able to do a lot of the things that I've always wanted to do just because of financial constraints. But through GRUNT, I was able to go canoeing and hiking and just exploring all the parks in Portland, things that I wouldn't have been able to.
For me, being in this program, as well as for younger kids who come through the GRUNT pipeline, being able to do those activities are very helpful and inspiring to be a part of this program.
Parks are a tremendous asset in cities across this country. And if we're really going to be successful at advancing the social equity in our cities, we have to see and fully maximize parks as assets in cities driving effective strategies. And so I'm really excited about us as an organization that's committed to that.